Welcome to Between the Lines, the Five Towns Jewish Times podcast, where newsmakers unpack the stories shaping the Jewish community.
Okay, welcome everyone. Hi, it's Larry Gordon, Between the Lines, the podcast of the Five Towns Jewish Times, where we bring you a combination of personalities from around the world involved in different newsmaking situations, operations, in the case of doctors, I guess, sometimes. But our guest is a popular WhatsApp and internet personality, Dovi Wachsler. Dovi is well known to a lot of people before his weather forecasting prognostication. He's a young man. I think he started out like most of us. We were talking yesterday because we were talking about how a young guy that went to a yeshiva in Brooklyn got so interested in weather forecasting. And like a lot of yeshiva guys or a lot of school people, you were a young kid hoping it would snow so that school would be called off for the day. Is that how it got started, Dovi?
Yeah, you know what? I loved snow since the day I was born. Loved it. And as every kid, of course, you want that day off.
Right.
And you remember we were discussing yesterday, listening to the radio. And
Right.
is your school off today?
That's right.
You know, every school would be off except my yeshiva, Vini Yeshiva. For some reason, you know, the kids have this notion that Rabbeim love going to yeshiva. And it's only years later, my brother was a Rebbe, and he says, you don't understand. Rabbeim also want that day off.
Uh-huh.
And so until this day, I'm trying to figure out who in Wien wanted that day on for all of us. It was very, very frustrating. There's only one day that I remember getting off, and that's in 1996, the blizzard of 96.
So it came at a very interesting time this year. First of all, these blizzards were very unusual. This is broadcast or can be seen all around the world, and people in Argentina and Brazil and Guatemala and in South Florida don't have any shaykhs or don't have any real connection to snow. They live vicariously through whatever goes on in New York. Anyway, I think people around the world, especially in Israel, for example, they're always thinking about what time it's in New York. So they might as well also be thinking about how's the weather in New York. The weather this week was terrible, okay? But for you, you're the only guy I know that it was extraordinary. It was very special. I should say, by way of introduction, that you are in the salt business, salt that melts ice. So it's been an extraordinary year for you, unlike the last previous years. How'd you get into that end of the business?
So, yeah, ironically, I happen to be in this business. Nothing related to the fact that I love snow. In fact, when we have a snowstorm like we just did, it literally shuts our business. So 20 inches of snow is actually not good for my business. Can't make deliveries, can't load trucks. But the kid in me loves this stuff. Of course, looking forward to a major blizzard.
Where's the salt that you deliver and you package? Where does it come from?
So we package the salt in Camden, New Jersey. Now, why do we choose Camden? Because it's right at the port. And anyone that knows what Camden is about, it's not the safest place. But they enjoy getting business, and they really give us a lot of leeway because we can be running an operation that's 24 hours. And we've been at other warehouses, and the neighbors do not like it. So Camden, New Jersey is right at the port. It's a perfect place. Nobody bothers us, and we really want it. We run a 24-hour operation.
So where does the snow come from? Where do you get it delivered from? It comes in by ship from where?
So we get it in by vessel. So imagine you see these vessels with the containers on them. This is a vessel with the whole entire ship. The hull of the ship is full of raw material, just bulk salt. So it's the operation is a bit different than when it comes to containers, and not every port is equipped for it. So we first take out the bulk, put it into dump trucks, they deliver it to our yard, and from the yard we transition, we put the bulk salt and put it into 20 or 50 pound bags, and so on. And then it gets shipped to the retail stores.
To stores, to Home Depot,
right.
Hardware stores, and people go in there buy salt because their driveway or their steps leading to their home or their front of their store is very slippery and they don't want anybody to fall.
Yeah. You know who doesn't have any salt?
Who doesn't have any what?
Me. I was actually at the warehouse 2 weeks ago, and I just plain forgot to bring back salt. And so now I have to go buy a bag of salt to the customer that I'm selling it to. How do you like that?
You have to go. You have to go pay retail.
Yeah?
For the salt.
Yeah, and
So
the truth is I get calls all the time from friends and
now
neighbors.
you're also at
Or,
the same time you're an amateur weather person, and I've been watching your WhatsApp reports, especially leading into the snowstorm. And because to you, I'm speaking to you now from South Florida, because last Thursday
enjoy.
when I heard you say that the storm is going to hit Sunday, I had airline tickets for yesterday, for Monday, and I said to my wife, we have to get out of here today. So it's a good thing I'm a JetBlue Mosaic customer.
And it's good you followed my status.
So I took a chance and I said let's get out of here tonight. 5 o'clock. We got a 5 o'clock flight down to PBI, the Palm Beach International Airport, which is now going to be known as Donald Trump International Airport, and we're here, and there's no snow here. I can't even find a snow shovel anywhere. I looked at Home Depot. I looked at a lot of places. No such thing as a snow shovel for sale.
You know what, Larry? I called this storm on Tuesday evening, 5 days ahead of time. Not one forecaster was putting this out. They were calling for a coating to an inch to 3 inches. And we're talking Erev Shabbos on Friday that they were still calling for an inch to 3 inches.
Okay,
and of course,
so
you always doubt, I always doubt myself and say, am I looking at something wrong? I'm looking at these models. How can they not see what I'm seeing?
okay,
And I think they're
explain
just
to me.
afraid. People don't want to be embarrassed. You're calling 20 inches and you end up at 3. Nobody wants to call it. It was so
So
obvious.
explain to me what you look at. How do you look? How does any weatherman? I always wondered, how does a weatherman know what the 10-day forecast? I go online to look at the 10-day forecast. How do they know it's going to be? Today is Tuesday. We're recording this on Tuesday, February 24th. How do they know what's going to be on March 3rd? How do
Okay,
they
so the
know that?
last place you want to get real information are these websites, weather.com, AccuWeather.com. They were calling for 40 degrees. This is on Friday. They're calling for a high of 40 degrees in or around New York City.
Right. I
Now,
saw that. So
you
how
have
did
to
you know?
understand that the storm itself, when the storm comes together, the storm itself can pull in cold air. So if the computer model is not reading that, depending on which station is following which model, if it's not reading it, it's going to show you 40 degrees. Well, how is it going to snow at 40 degrees? And the answer is it's not going to be 40 degrees. You see 40 degrees, but that's not going to happen. And of course, the high on Sunday was 33 degrees. So you can't just look at these websites and determine whether it's going to snow or not. These computer models, each one has a different solution, whether you're looking at the GFS, which is an American model, you're looking at the Canadian, the European model, each one has their take. The GFS was the one that was calling this storm since Monday, and it had 8 runs in a row where you were showing 20 to 30 inches, and I said 8 runs in a row. Usually they flip-flop. But when you talk about a week before the storm and 8 runs in a row, you having a snowstorm, you know that the computer model is onto something. Not every model was calling for that, but at least you see something is going on. And in fact, the models are now calling for snow on Purim. The GFS, the
Oh,
latest
really?
GFS showed 8 inches, 4 to 8 inches. It's possible. We're still, a week away. I wouldn't make a call at this time, but at least you see there's something going on. And I can assure you it is going to be cold on Purim.
Well, but no snow between now and Purim? Just
Oh,
on.
there's potential. There's potential for tomorrow sometime. Nothing major, really nothing major. Coating to an inch again on Thursday afternoon. It's possible. Freezing rain is also possible.
Okay,
We
so
really have to look at that closely.
So we mostly live in the Northeast, even though I mentioned I'm in Florida now. But our homes are in the Northeast, which is really takes the brunt of these storms. And if you watch the weather, if you listen to the weather, like we've been doing all our lives, like the other day, I heard a weather person say, I don't know if they're a meteorologist or they're an actor playing a meteorologist, but I heard him say that if you're on this side of I-95, you're going to get this amount of snow. If you're on that side of I-95, how does a storm know where I-95 is?
So that's actually funny. Okay. So that's not something that you can predict before a day or two before the storm. That's actually predicting as the storm is hitting us. You can see the bands, heavy bands of snow. So, for instance, if you lived in Providence, Rhode Island, you would have gotten about 15 inches or so. 10 miles south got about 30 inches. So it really makes a very big difference. Those 10, 20 miles can make it or break it for a storm.
So I met a guy yesterday in shul, Monday morning, and I said to him, "Yeah, I guess you're not going anywhere." And he said, "No, I live in Baltimore. There's only 3 inches of snow in Baltimore."
Right.
And the same thing.
when I say we, JFK got about 18, 19 inches. I
Yeah.
slip. How far is that? Got 30 inches. Go figure.
Okay, but now last time there was a storm in the New York area, it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 degrees in the morning, so everything was frozen. So
Right.
that was good for your business. Everybody needed
Yeah,
salt.
took about a month, 3 weeks, a month for the snow to disappear.
Okay, but now the temperature is not going to be that cold, so it's not going to be that
Right.
much
Right.
freeze.
This
So
is a bigger storm, but I don't think it's going to be as effective as it was as the previous storm. That's correct.
I mean,
Right.
in terms of your business, or in terms of how it's going to
No,
inconvenience
in terms of the business and in terms of having the snow's not going to be around for 3-4 weeks. That's for sure.
It's just now. How do you like to? You live in Long Island, but the New York area, everyone's focused on how the mayor Mondami, the new mayor, it's already the second snowstorm in his honor since he was inaugurated as mayor, and he's done a pretty lousy job, it seems. Someone texted me this morning that the roads in Nassau County are very easy to travel on, pretty clear. New York City is terrible. What's going on there?
I don't know. He was offering $19 an hour to shovel. I was considering it.
I heard he was offering $28 an hour, and people were going to pick up the shovels and put in their information for payment, and then going home and not shoveling anything.
You know what? Just to keep the shovel. Yeah, I was considering.
There was no supervision. You were free to shovel wherever you wanted. You shoveled.
Right.
They wanted you to shovel around bus stops and fire hydrants.
Right.
And those areas, but you were free to shovel wherever you wanted.
Right.
So
and don't forget, shovels now are going for what, $50 a shovel. So hey, just for that.
So there's a lot of shoveling going on, I guess. So what do you look for? I mean, one of the forecasters said there was going to be thunder snow. How do you get thunder?
Yeah, there was on Sunday night. There was.
When?
Sunday night during the storm, there was thunder snow.
What causes the thunder and the snow?
You know, it happens to be very unusual. It's not something that you get every time. It is an unusual thing, and I cannot tell you why. I'm sure there's some scientific reasons, but I do not know why. But it is very unusual.
Now, tell me about different kinds of salt. What kind of salt do you use, and what kind of salt do we use for our food, and what's the difference in the different types of salt?
So you have the lowest grade, which is road salt.
Road salt.
So, yeah. So like today, I was walking.
That's what you're using now. That's what people are using today.
No, that's for the road. That's the cheapest salt. The ones that are using for the city streets, for the county streets, they use the cheapest salt there is, and that's road salt. And that means everything gets in there. The fines, the big pieces, the mediums, everything gets mixed in there. Now, and this yesterday and today, I decided to walk to work. The streets are very slushy. In fact, when I'm walking on West Broadway, there is an area there where you can't walk on the street, and there's a mountain of snow. So you're walking on the street in the side. And let me ask you something. When you see a truck coming toward you and you go like this, what does that mean?
I mean, you got to
slow down, right?
Right, yeah.
Well, I got slush from head to toe. Right? You get some marks right over here, head to toe on West Broadway, because the guy wouldn't slow down.
So, yeah, they get a kick out of hitting a puddle and.
Oh, they're looking at the rear view mirror, they're laughing, of course.
Yeah, it's a fun thing. It's a laugh.
Right. So it doesn't refreeze because it's salt mixed in, but that is the lowest grade salt. And then you have the salt for the sidewalks, which is medium grade. So we'll take the salt, we'll screen it. So you have the medium grade salt. We'll even put in a color. You mix it with calcium chloride. You make different type of blends and so on. That goes into the retail stores. You're using it on your steps, sidewalks, etc. And then the highest grade is the calcium chloride, the white pellets. That's the calcium chloride. That's the highest grade.
And that melts the snow on the sidewalk and your walkway?
Much quicker. Yeah.
Now, at the same time, once the spring comes, the same salt also creates the potholes and destroys the roadway.
Yeah, so when you leave clumps of salt on the street and it sits there for 2-3 weeks, that's going to give you a pothole. Yeah.
It eats away at the concrete.
Sure.
So it's not what the salt does to your food to make it more tastier.
Well, it's technically the same thing. It's sodium chloride. It's just not refined.
So where does your salt come from? The ocean? Where does it come from originally?
So there is solar salt. That's salt that's from the ocean and it's evaporated. The salt that we use is actually rock salt, which is mined. Comes from Chile, Egypt. There's mines all over the world. There's a mine in upstate New York. I happen to not like that salt. It's very dirty, but it's salt nevertheless. But there's mines all over the place.
Well, there's someone in Cedarhurst that has a business that has salt rooms. Where you go in, it's very good for your lungs. If you have breathing problems, where you could go into this room and there's just salt built into the walls. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's in a medical office. I don't know what street it is. I think it's not far from Seasons.
Yeah, I know who owns the business.
So it's very good for your lungs apparently to breathe in whatever the salt is offering you up. I guess that if worst comes to worst, you could always pull the salt out of the wall and use it on the sidewalk or the street. But so this is a vicious cycle. The salt cracks up the ice, which makes the roads less slippery, which goes ahead and creates potholes, which ruins the cars. And then the road crews have to come out to patch up the streets. And that's why they look like hell to begin with, our streets in New York City anyway.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle. We're all in on it.
Now, do any schools, back to your prognostication talents about the future storms, do any schools call you to consult with you to find out what weather's going to be?
Every now and then. Yes, I do. I get texts.
You get texts from some of the leaders of the yeshivas, the rabbis.
Yeah, and I hate to make these decisions. I'm not, I can just tell you, I'll tell you what I see. I cannot tell you what's going to happen. You know what? Sometimes you say, okay, I don't suggest there's going to be any yeshiva, and then it's embarrassing because it's not as bad as you think it is. I'm not one to make those calls. I will just say it as is, and then you can make the call.
So you don't want to be left. You don't want to be saddled with that responsibility of having.
Yeah. What do I need it for? I don't get paid for this. Exactly.
Right. So it's just a hobby of yours.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're looking? Let's go back to talking about Purim, even though this is going to be online for this Purim and next Purim and the one after that. Because these things, once they go up online, they never go off. So it'll become a historical item that someone could refer to understand the whole process of how a young man like yourself gets into the salt business and also forecasts the weather. So, I mean, you forecast weather, you forecast things other than snow, I'm imagining. You can look into the future and see when there's going to be a heat wave or when it's going to be very cold.
I do, but it doesn't interest me. It's just the snowstorms that interest me. I have a passion for snow, so that's the only thing that really interests me.
Okay, so
but I can see the wind factor. I can see whether there's going to be a tornado, a hurricane. You can see all that, but those things really don't interest me.
So you specifically you like ice because you know what to order for your business then.
Right. Yep.
Oh, now, when's the last time we had this kind of snow? Do you remember how many years ago?
2016. 2015 or 16, we had a major one.
You're telling me that we haven't had snow like this in 10 years?
Not of this caliber, no.
Now, you expect it's supposed to warm up, though, this week, I think, or next week.
It is.
So that the snow will melt away. But the snow keeps the other snow cold, so it doesn't go anywhere so fast.
Right.
It very gradually like fades away once it hits like 38, 41, that type of temperature.
The storm that I believe had the most effect in terms of just getting up and running in operation is December 26, 2010. That's the Bloomberg storm. I mean, we were shut down for days on end. And I think it's just because the city was not prepared for it. And then once you have a car stuck in a road, you can't clean it, and it gets worse and worse. So that, if I recall, that was the absolute worst storm. And it wasn't inches wise, it wasn't as bad as this storm, but I believe that was the absolute worst storm that at least I've experienced.
What about the planes and airports? Have you consult? Do you consult with them? Do they consult with you? Do you have any
No,
idea?
I've done business with the Port Authority, but
You know,
they put in their orders and that's it.
they order salt from you?
Yeah.
Or they salt runways? Are you telling me?
No.
Runway salting?
So those are really for the terminals. The
Oh,
runways, they use liquid deicers.
because that's why it's so bumpy sometimes when they're taking off. I guess it's because
Funny.
of your salt. I
It's
mean,
liquid. No, those are
you can't have
liquid
turbulence
de-ice.
while you're
They
still
would
on the
never
ground.
use ice, man. They would never use rock salt or calcium chloride on a runway. No, that
So they
doesn't
have
work.
some kind of liquid that
Yeah,
will break up the ice on the runway.
yeah, yeah.
And
Not
when a
break up. It
plane
doesn't allow it. It doesn't even allow it to accumulate.
and I don't know if this is your domain, but when you're on the runway and you're sitting there for 2 hours, of course they tell you they're de-icing the plane. What does that mean? I mean, it's kind of like your business because it has to do with ice. So they're
So I don't
de-icing.
sell that product. I've bid on it. I don't sell that. That's not my specialty.
That's some
But
kind of
those are
chemical.
all liquid de-icers, which I've mainly stayed away from.
That's
It's
some
almost
kind
like
of
it's
chemical.
almost like a separate business.
It's like a chemical that breaks up the ice on the wings of the plane, so
Correct.
so it
Doesn't
doesn't
allow it
get
to form in the first place.
doesn't get imbalanced or anything like
Right.
that. So do you remember the last time it snowed on Purim? I think I remember a Purim where
Yeah, it
it
was about
snowed.
10 years ago, and I was stuck in Atlanta till 2
Yeah,
o'clock in the morning. So that Purim, I gave some shalach manas to a couple of Jews at the airport, and that was that. That was my
and you,
Purim.
and you couldn't get out.
Couldn't get out.
So who uses the most salt? It can't be the New York area. There are places that need salt 8 to 10 months, 8 to 10 months a year. I mean, you must have customers around the world that have snow and
No, my core base is the East Coast, the I-95, actually, the big cities. That's my core base.
Dovi, you were telling me about different parts of the world. This is really a 12 months business, isn't it?
Oh,
Some,
it's different.
some
But
parts of the world.
starting from September, October, it's load-ins to all the stores, and once we get into April, my life gets a little easier. Then we start preparation, but you can't compare it. I mean that's really my time off. We package, but it's an 8-hour day, not 24 hours. It's a lot easier.
Yeah, and you package stuff through the summer to get ready for the
Yeah.
season.
Mm-hmm. We're dealing with a lot of imports as well, so it's a complex business.
Yeah, it's an interesting business. So you ship around the entire world, though?
I mean I import from all over the world, but I ship just to the big cities.
Yeah. What about places like Alaska?
Nah, no, you got 5 people living in Alaska. What's that gonna do for me?
I don't know. It's a big city, you know. It's a lot of
Nah, nah,
it's a lot of ice, a lot of snow.
nah.
You want New York?
I need this here. You got 70, 80 million people are affected on the I-95.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, good. I'm glad that you had the time to, especially at this high season, with all the snow and ice on the ground, able to bring us up to date and give us a little bit of insight into how we figure out what's going to happen going forward with the snow and the ice. Okay, so I thank you for joining us. This will be up online later today, and we'll be in touch once we watch the weather.
Beautiful. And if you're ever looking to get into this business,
Don't, right? Stay out of it. You don't want any
not for the
competition.
faint of heart. No.
Okay, great. Thanks very much, Dovi. We'll talk
Take
soon.
care. Be well. Have a
Be
nice
well.
day.